What's up everybody, this is a beginner guide for Bitburner, the video game. It's based on a computer. There's a computer on your computer when you're playing this game. For example, thanks to the guide by Sysroot, I have this code on mine, which uses the CAT API, which is an internet service that you can run and display this picture. Oh my god, it's a kitty cat! And with that API, it's a different cat every time, actually. Yeah. So that's there's a script for that a nice person Sysroot made on the guides on Steam. I haven't learned this part of the scripting yet, so I don't know the limits of what you can do with this game in terms of creativity, but if you're taking the main line in this game, Bitburner is an educational game that's going to force you to learn how to code. It's a great game for people who are learning programming. Experienced programmers will probably enjoy it as well, and let me just show you how this game forces you to code. I have a game going right now that's in sort of early mid-game, and this page shows you scripts that are running right now, and scripts are one of the things you can use in this game to get money. Right now, most of my money is coming from these cloud servers called Floop0 through Floop24. They're not actually on a cloud, the network is just pretend, and the cloud just pretend, and the RAM and the threads all just pretend. But anyways, I have the maximum number of cloud servers right now, and that's 25 of them, and they're all running these hacking scripts. And those are the main source of my character's income right now, and this game is to some extent an idle game. In terms of how idle, you have to leave it overnight once in a while. Personally, I like idle games, but it's an idle game that you need to code, and if you get this far in the game, I hope you've done a lot of coding in it by then. So Floop0 is the web server that's running these 25 hacking scripts, and Floop1 also running the same 25 hacking scripts, and so on for all of these cloud computers. And there's a reason you have to distribute the hacking across multiple computers, or at least multiple processes, and that's what forces you to code. Alright, returning to the terminal on the home computer, and that's the home computer in the game, that's the computer on my computer. I'm gonna list all the things on it with ls, and that includes the 27 hacking scripts plus a bunch of other things. So these hacking scripts, again, those are the things that are running while this game's kind of idling, and that's the source of money right now, the main source of it. And in order to get these scripts onto those cloud computers, I made this script right here. And there's a better way of writing this code that loads up all these lists with all these names. I did it the stupid way with copy and paste. But one of the best things about this game is that you don't have to be as stupid as I am. So you can write this in the way that's actually good coding, and you'll do better at this game if you write better code. So anyways, I made a list of all the server names and a list of all these hacking scripts, and then this for loop runs once for each cloud server, and this command sends the list of hacking scripts from the home computer to that cloud server. And let's see how that looks from one of those cloud computers. I'm gonna connect to one of those cloud computers and list the contents, and this computer contains just the 27 hacking scripts, but I can also speak the terminal language from this computer. Free shows that this computer has it's using 92% of its 8.19 terabytes of pretend RAM running the hacking scripts, and top lists all the scripts that are running. So each of these hacking scripts that are running is it's running on 116 threads worth of each one, and that's 301 gigabytes of pretend RAM for each of these scripts running on this computer. And to get these scripts running, I used a different script, and each of these scripts takes some base amount of pretend RAM to run. So we can look inside one of these. We type nano, that's the name of the text editor, and we can type in hack0.script, and now this gives us a look inside of this the hacking script that's running, that's getting the money right now. So this one, it takes 2.6 gigabytes of pretend RAM to run. 1 thread worth of this. So if you had a computer with 4 gigabytes of pretend RAM, you could run 1 thread worth of this. If you had a computer with 8 gigabytes of RAM, you could run 3 threads worth of this on one target, or you could hit 3 targets with 1 thread worth of this on each one. This computer that we're looking at here has its 2,000 times as powerful as a 4 gigabyte one, so that's why we're looking at 100 something threads, each of 20 something scripts running on this one. Alright, I did jump right into the middle of the game. The cloud computers are the main source of income at this stage of the game, but there are other things earlier in the game. The game comes with one short tutorial that will run when you first launch the game. Do play that, and then go to the tutorial button on the navigation bar and get a link to the bigger tutorial, which is on a web page, and then that web page has the rest of the documentation for the game. So do also play the big tutorial, and then I think I can give you a good tour of this game in the format of a video though. So just clicking around on the navigation bar, we saw the terminal and the script editor and the active scripts dashboard. Programs are another thing in this game. Those are the EXEs. They do various things, and you can get them by buying them or by idling for them. And there's character stats, there's factions, you can belong to factions, there's augmentations, those are the power-ups. Hacknet, here's your standard idle game format, and this is a source of income in the early game. And City offers you a lot of redundant jobs that you can take for money, and then some shops for power-ups, slums for doing crimes, gyms and universities for idling up your character stats, and you can also break into most of these places by playing Infiltration mode, which is made of mini-games. And travel takes you to the other cities, and there's a simulated stock market, and you can script ways of making money on it. And there's a list of milestones to guide you on the main line, and these links on the tutorial page, these all just take you to the full documentation online. And there's options, including an option to export the whole game state as a plain text for backing up. But now that I'm done showing you some about how the game forces you to code, let's turn to what the macroist level progressions in this game are. At the macroist level, this is an idle game based on the prestige mechanic. The prestige mechanic means sort of that you start the game over a bunch of times, but it's faster each time. Prestiging refers to hitting that button that sort of starts the game over, but you get to keep your power-ups. In this game, when you prestige, you get to keep the scripts that you wrote, so you don't have to write all your automating scripts over every time, and you get to keep the amount of RAM on your home computer. Home 3. You get to keep the amount of RAM on your home computer when you prestige, which is also going to help get you going after prestiging. So they did the prestiging mechanic really well in this game. They absolutely did not make it tedious. It's quite the opposite, in fact. In terms of how many times you need to prestige this game, basically you play it for several hours, you leave it overnight, you prestige it once, then you play it for several hours again, you leave it overnight again, you prestige it a second time, and by then you already have so many power-ups to keep that you start off super powerful for all subsequent prestigings after that. So the game is nice that way. On the microist level, I didn't yet show you the logs for what these hacking scripts are doing, but it's based on a game mechanic called Weaken, Grow, and Hack. So these scripts, as they're running, they have logs, and they are running these operations Weaken, Grow, and Hack. So the amount of RAM that you have on these computers, it determines how much money you can extract from the world by leaving your hacking scripts running. And when you leave them running, then you can amass some amount of money, and with that money you can buy more powerful cloud computers and hack money out of the world even harder. Like Rick Sanchez once said, you're mining things for crafting, so you can craft things for mining. And at the meso level, somewhere between the micro level and the macro level, you have switching between the different sources of income, and that goes roughly Hacknet, this standard idle game format, to a combination of like the Hacknet and these hacked servers, and I haven't shown you these yet. And then it goes to a combination of these hacked servers plus the cloud servers being your main source of income, and then it goes to just the cloud servers being your main source of income at this stage of the game, which is sort of near mid-game, maybe sort of early-ish mid-game. Yeah. And then to whatever's next, including automating the stock market stuff, which I haven't even done on this save. And there's, yes, more features that leads to a whole detailed world of lore, and even more features that I have not yet unlocked on this save. So the main thing that you keep when you prestige is the power-ups called Augmentations. And these stats all start at 100% the first time around before you ever prestige this game, and then the augments make some of these a little more than 100% and some a little less than 100%. The ones that are advantageous to have them a little less than 100%, those augments are going to reduce those. The ones that are advantageous to have more than 100%, the augments are going to increase those. And so amassing the augments is the long-term powering up that persists through prestigings, and their effects compound. So the main things being powered up are the effectiveness of your hacking scripts, and also the cost and the returns for those idle hacknet computers, these ones. And you're going to use those as an early source of income the first time before prestiging, and also after the first and second times you prestige, you got to use these all over again to build yourself back up after prestiging. And power-ups also affect your hacking level-ups, which basically affects how much money you make throughout, and it affects how quickly your money grows each round. Augments are what give you those boosts, but when you buy an augment, it doesn't take effect right away. So augments only take effect once you prestige. So these 8 are the few that I have active right now that make some of those stats a little more than 100 and some a little less than 100. And these are augments that I bought before the first time I prestige, so that's why they've been applied this time around. And over here, these are the augments that I bought on this round that will only take effect once I hit the prestige button. This one right there. It's called Install Augments. And the stats down here on the augments page, it shows you how much those stats are going to get boosted once I prestige. And the most important stats here are going to get a massive boost as soon as I hit that prestige button a second time, coming right up. And that would be these and these, plus a few other stats that are not showing there too. And if you're playing the slower and patient style, the thing that is going to drive you to hit the prestige button when it's time for that is that augments get more and more expensive as you keep buying them. For example, if I want to purchase some augments from this faction, there's a price multiplier right now of 375,000 times on the price of augments, making this particularly expensive one here $900 trillion, so I would have to leave the computer idling for quite a long time before buying that. So basically on this save right now, that multiplier has increased to such an amount that more augments, they're prohibitively expensive, and now the game drives you to say there's nothing left to do but hit that prestige button and build yourself back up with a new round of power-ups. Alright, let me show you a few more things about this game, and then I will prestige it, and I'll show you some of the things that come up as you build back up from scratch, plus a few power-ups. And next, I suppose, the Infiltration Mini-games. In order to buy the augments, they cost money, but you also need to have reputation points with the faction that's selling the augments, and one of the ways of getting those is you can work for them as one of idle things that your character can do. So you can set your character to do one idle thing. You gotta pick either working for a faction, or working for a store, or studying, or working out at the gym, or programming an EXE. And you choose one thing at a time for that at most. And other way to get the faction reputation points is to play the infiltration games, and those are the mini games in this game. They are rip-roaringly fun. So every building has a security level, and when you pick one, it does some math on that security level and your combat stats. So these are combat stats up here, and one with low security here, Joe's Guns. So most of these stores in the world, you can infiltrate them and get this readout here. So it says the level is 5, so that's a low security level, and comparing that to my combat stats, it says that will result in difficulty level of 73, which is hard. I prefer to play these minigames at the range of 75 to 80. It's really difficult, but it's really fun. So let's just flip on over to some minigame footage then. Alright, this is the Infiltration Mini-games, and they are these super fast pressure-on challenges, and I'll name them in order of appearance, starting with the word valence is one where you have to find the complement among the insults, the timing one where you have to press the spacebar a quarter of a second after the prompt changes, then the enter the arrow code one, and then close the brackets, round, curly, square, and pointy, and then the remember the minefield one, which is by far the most difficult when you're playing at this difficulty of 75 to 80, and then the cut the wires one, which is tied for the second most difficult, and that's 6 of the 8 challenges. And when you're playing at this difficulty level, you'll have to pass 5 out of the 6 minigames in order to complete the infiltration sometimes, and sometimes it will call the attempt a loss after a single failed minigame, in which case the standard is 5 in a row in order to win. And when you play this at an easier level, which is when your character has higher combat stats, you'll get longer timers and more permitted failed rounds. Match the symbol is tied for the second hardest, along with cut the wires, and we're going to be watching 3 attempts at the infiltration, the first of which we saw succeed. The second one we're watching, however, after 4 past minigames, including minefield. The game was mean enough to call it a loss after 1 fail. And here comes the third attempt. We're going to see here, starting with type the words that are displayed backwards, tied for easiest, along with the timing one. And as for the 3 that I didn't rank yet, arrow code is the 3rd easiest, word valences is the 4th easiest, and close the brackets is nearly as difficult as the 3rd place ones. Fun fact about the quick brain games such as these, about whether they can slow down the aging process of your brain. It's argued whether or not there's that kind of causation, but a correlation is absolutely proven, so these are actually a reliable metric of how quickly your brain is succumbing to aging. And personally, I just think all these mini games are fun as heck, but I think Minefield needs a very slight balance in order to make it less absurdly hard, and the timer should be shorter on the typing one. Altogether, 10 out of 10 heckin' fun. This ensemble of mini games is just great. Alright, when you want to take over computers and hack money from them, you first have to open their ports and root them. So right now all the ports are open on all the hacked network computers in the world, and let me show you how that's done in this game. So on the running scripts dashboard, we saw how the cloud computers are running these hacking scripts, but these ones over here are some of the hacked computers on the pretend internet network. So one thing you're going to do with computers on the network is you take control of them and then you use their computing power to run your hacking scripts. And in early game, you'll have to do a bunch of that before you have the more powerful cloud computers. And another thing you do with the computers on the network is that you direct your hacking attacks at them. That's how you're getting your money. So right now these computers on this network, they're all hacked, and they're all attacking Joe's Guns right now, all these computers on the network. Joe's Guns is one of them. So Joe's Guns is attacking itself right now, and half the other computers on the neighborhood are also attacking Joe's Guns, and the other half of the computers in the neighborhood, I didn't bother to take control of them, even though I opened them up. And all these cloud computers right now, they're all attacking all of the targets in the world all at the same time right now. But right now, these cloud computers, they're hitting some targets too hard, and they're hitting some targets insufficiently hard, and I would optimize that, and you guessed it, that's one of the ways that this game forces you to code. So in this run of the game, the next major coding challenge is to write some automation that results in hitting the little targets more lightly and hitting the big targets harder. Alright, let me show you that micro mechanism, the weaken and grow and hack mechanics. So those scripts that are idly running to get us money, what they're doing within the lore of this game is they're making counterfeit money appear in the bank accounts of those businesses, and then they're stealing that money out of their bank accounts and putting it into our bank account. So this is the weaken and grow and hack script that the big tutorial gives you. You can just copy this code right out of that tutorial. And what this does is it's got a target here hard-coded in, and then it gets some information about it, that's what it's doing here, and decides whether to use weaken or grow or hack. So grow makes the bank account bigger, hack takes money out of the bank account and puts it in our bank account, and every time you use grow and hack, the security level increases. So sometimes you have to use weaken to bring that back down. And then every time you use weaken or grow or hack, it takes some time. And if you don't weaken and you let the security level increase, then it will make grow and hack less effective. So there's a simple decision process, and this is math. You can change the math to change the decision process. Ultimately, it's going to do some combination of calling weaken, grow, and hack. And be aware that many of the targets need to be weakened and grown many times before they're hacked if you're using this particular algorithm. So sometimes you fire up one of these scripts and it will take a while before it starts bringing money in from a target, and that's when you can look at the log from the script running to see what it's doing. So this script, it checks the security level. If the security level is low enough, or if it's too high, then it will weaken. And then if the security level is low enough and the bank balance is low, then it will grow it. But if the security level is low and the bank balance is high, then it will hack it. We can see one of these running, 019, because yeah, this one's ended up using a combination of weaken, grow, and hack. So going back in the log, we see a grow here and a hack here, and grow and a weaken here. So sometimes it's checked the security level, found this number, checked the money available, and chosen grow. And then when it chose hack, that's when the bank balance was 2 billion. So that was when it was near full, and then it hacked it. So that's basically the main source of how the money is increasing right now in those stats. Alright, so that is how the economy of that part of the game is limited on the microest level, and at any given time there's a limit to your computing power, so a limit to how much you can do weaken, grow, and hack, and at any given time. And if that's optimized, then you'll be pulling the maximum amount of possible money out of the economy for your given amount of computing power, and that will determine the rate at which you can grow your computing power. And but there are many steps along the way that keep that game fresh. That is not even the only mechanic in this game. So like, for example, at the start and after you prestige, you can run this scan analyze command to level 2 or 3. And this will show you part of the network of other servers that exist on this pretend internet. And then later you can buy or idle for the EXE program that lets you scan further and see more targets on the network. So the maximum level for that is 5, and that reveals the whole network of all the computers on the pretend internet. And for each of these targets, there's a required hack skill level required to hack it, and then there's an amount of RAM that you can use once you take control of it. There's a yes or no to indicate whether you have control of it, and there's a number of open ports required in order to seize control of it. For each of these, one that has no open ports required, you can just run nuke.exe, which it's a program you start with, and then you'll have root access, which means then you can control it remotely, you can use its computing power, and you can use weaken and grow and hack on it as a target to get money. For one of these, it takes some opening ports first. I'm going to list the contents of the terminal buy store right here. And these first 5 things on the list, these are the things that open ports. So I bought all 5 already, which is why they're also there when I list the contents of the computer. They're mixed in here with these EXEs. This script, nano all attacks all bus script. What this script does is it just targets every server in the universe, and then it runs all 5 of those port opening EXE programs on each one, and then it nukes each computer. And then nuke is the thing that gives you the root access once enough ports are open. So if there were still some computers on the network, okay, that I didn't have access to yet, but if I did have all 5 of those port opening EXE programs, then I would just have to run that script once, and then it would open up all the ports that haven't been opened already, and it would root all of these computers that hadn't been rooted already, and then I would have all of them rooted. And then once they're rooted, then you can control their computing power, and then they can be targeted for making money when you use weaken and grow and hack, except for the ones that have a required hacking skill higher than my character's hack level. Alright, let's prestige this game. On this time around, what I actually did was, at the start I got one augment and then I prestiged it, which was completely redundant. Basically, it's a pretty standard way to open up this game is on your first time around, get all of the augments from CSEC, except for this one goes up to arbitrarily high level, but get all the ones from CSEC faction, all the augments except for the one that's infinite, and then hit that prestige button there for the first time, get those installed, and then on your second time around look at getting even more before you hit that. So on this game right now there's not much left to do but hit this thing for what's essentially the second time if you're not counting the one redundant time. And for these augments I roughly took from Nightsec and Black Hand, and I got most of those, and because those apply to some of these increase your hacking experience points, and your scripts, how much money they get depends on your experience points even when they're running idle. And a lot of these will increase the effectiveness of hack and grow and weaken, so these are the most important ones to stack up. There's also like other augments for your combat skills, which are much less important, especially in like early to mid game. Yeah, okay, so nothing left to do but click this one right here then. Alright, let's prestige this game, shall we? First, I can afford one more upgrade on the RAM for the home computer, and that's one thing that persists through prestiging. So one more upgrade on that. It's massive now. 32,000 gigabytes. Gigabytes is sort of the base unit for RAM in this game, pretend RAM. Alright, let's kick it. Okay. Stock market, I don't have access. Oh wait, I do. I haven't learned how to use this yet. Travel, can't afford to go anywhere. City, can't afford I don't have any of the character stats to get any jobs here. I can get a free computer science course, but can't afford any of the paid ones or to go to the gym or anything like that. No hacknet computers. Augments? No, I got all these augments. No factions. I'm not in any factions because I haven't got any invites yet. Stats. Now that all these stats are boosted up now. Program, this is for EXEs, nothing here yet. As you progress, they'll appear here, and you can either idle for those or buy them. No active scripts anymore. No scripts running, getting me money. Script editor. I still have my scripts. So these ones in yellow, these are scripts that I've made, and these persist when you prestige. But all the EXEs and quest items from before, those are all gone now, except for a nuke. So scan, analyze 3. Okay, at the start you can go up to 3, but not 4. Okay. So now most of these are beyond my hack skill, because my hack skill is now at 2. So I can get into these ones with 1 requirement of hack skill of 1, but not into any of the other ones yet. So let me just take a minute to figure out what I am doing next. Alright, so now this is going to be something more like how you would start a game if you're starting fresh. However, so let's see, free. Yeah, so my home computer is massively powerful right now, so I can use it to get a bunch of money right away. If you're just starting this game fresh, your home computer starts really weak, so you're gonna need to like scan, analyze. Yeah, if you're starting newer, you're gonna need to start taking over these computers and using their RAM, because it's got like the ones that you can get right away with 1 hack skill, they've got like 4 gigabytes, 16 gigabytes, and your home computer is starting with something like, I don't know, 4 or something. So once you take over a few of these, that's your first like access to big computing power. Now, that script called all attacks all, it's gonna, if I run it, it's gonna attempt to use all those port opening EXEs, but I don't have them now because I prestiged them. I lost those EXEs. But I think it just runs anyway, so it's gonna attempt to do every attack on every computer in the world, I think, if it keeps running when it throws an error. So see, all these say root access no. So now none of these have been rooted anymore. This is a lot of stuff's been reset since I just prestiged. But let's see if that works. Run all attacks, all dot script. Yeah, it throws an error. It throws one error because I didn't have the port opening thing. And now let's see, clear screen, scan. No, okay, it did crash. So let's say we want to open this thing, Noodles. It doesn't need any ports open to nuke, so I don't need any of the port opening EXEs in order to nuke it. So the way to do that from the terminal is just like go connect Noodles. Now I'm connected to it. Now I can just go run nuke.exe. So that's sort of the simplest case of how you take over a computer. So now I would go home, and now I can list the contents of this computer, and let's say I just want to give it nanohack0.script. Yeah, okay, the script that attacks Joe's guns. Let's say I want to put that on the one I got. So I got Noodles. I got control of it now. So it's a computer on the network, but I've got control of it. So I can skip this wghack0.script over to Noodles. Okay, it worked. And I can connect to Noodles, and now list scripts on here. So the script made it over. Now this computer Noodles, it has this script on it, free. So 4 gigabytes, and this one, the base, it takes 2.6 gigabytes to run it. So from this computer that I just took over, I can only run 1 thread worth of this. So I can run wghack0.script, and let's say I try to give it 2 threads worth of power. Yeah, okay, well it doesn't have, this computer doesn't have 2 threads worth of power. So I can do this, change that to 1, or just leave that option out, and it will try to run it with 1 thread worth of power. And now that's the most this one can do with that script. So now if I say free, now it's using up 2.6 out of the 4.0 gigabytes here. And list kapoo says 1 core. I think all the ones on this network have 1 core. And top. So here's scripts that are running. 1 thread worth of script hack0, which is the one that attacks Joe's guns. Okay, so now you can go home. Let's see. Food and stuff. So this one's got 16 gigabytes. So let's, where's that skip? Skip that to food and stuff. And now connect to food and stuff. Now I haven't rooted this one yet, but this one I think it also takes no ports open to root it. So now it's rooted, and now let's see, run. How many threads worth can it run? Let's see, 6? Yeah, it works for 6. Or you can go, yeah, so let's see, free. Yeah, 6 is the maximum. If I try to go 7, then it's gonna go over. But let's say that kill all is the one that kills all running scripts. So if I had tried, if I was like testing to see how many it can run, I did like 3, and it's like, oh, it can run more than 3. Let's see, let's do 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 crashes it. Okay, 6 is the maximum. Free, okay, top. So now this one's running 6 threads worth of this one script that attacks Joe's guns. So now Noodles is taken over. It's attacking Joe's guns with 1 thread worth of this script, and food and stuff, they are also taken over, and it's running the script attacking Joe's guns with 6 threads worth of attack power. If I went to my home computer, so this, again, like when you start this from the start, your home computer is going to be really weak, but this is one thing that persists once you prestige. So right now I have just an absurd amount of computing power that I start out with after prestiging. Of the many things that gets reset, that's not one of them. So if I go to the home computer and I try to run this script, I could probably run this with, yeah, I could run it with 500 threads worth of power right away. So I'm going to write some kind of script that will get me some money using that computing power, because I don't have that kind of script ready right now. So that's the next thing to do. Alright, there's some kind of glitch. if you don't have any augments, that soft reset is how you do a prestige-like thing. So this is pretty much reset, but just still have my augments. So when we run all attacks all, it's going to attempt to use the port opening things and the nukes. And then when we scan, now it still says that all these haven't been rooted yet. But now if I launch my attack, and this script here is going to call my hacking scripts. It's just a script to launch the other scripts. So now my attacks are going. Now if I scan again, clear screen, scan again, now it says that these are rooted. And even though these require hacking skill 40 and my hack skill is 1, it opened them anyways. I think it's all the ones that have 0 ports required open. Now they are, but it's weird because it didn't show they were after I ran all attacks. It's just once I started running the hacking scripts, then they appeared open. So maybe that isn't a glitch, maybe there's some reason for that. But anyways, so once you freshly install this game, the game is largely about taking over these computers because your home computer is really weak. You're going to have to take over these computers to get their computing power to launch attacks. So you're going to start with these that require hack skill 1, take over control of them, attack noodles at first with your first 2. This one has the smallest bank account, so it requires the smallest amount of computing power to get money out of it. Once you've got your hack skill up, and then you might go to the university, and this computer science course is free and it will increase your hack skill. This is one thing you can do while it's idle, but it can you have to leave this screen up if you want to idle that. Once you've got more money, then you can take the courses that cost money and they'll give you hack skill at a faster rate. But once you leave your scripts running, they'll give you hack skill, and that's going to happen pretty soon here. But yeah, so imagine on the when you freshly installed it, and maybe after the first time you prestiged, early game after that is going to be like, once your hack skill's up to 5, you take over this one, and once your hack skill's up to 10, you take over this one. So once you've got about 8 of these, then you want to direct your attacks at something more like one of these ones at the like base level that's not noodles. So you go food and stuff, or Sigma, or Joe's Guns, or Hongfang Tea, or Harakiri, or Iron Gym. Set your 8 computers that you have at that point attacking one of these, and then that'll be like an appropriate amount of power to direct at one of those. That's going to be one of your sources of income too. So pretty soon here, so right now what my scripts, did I run these? I hadn't started those running. So now I have these 6 hacking scripts. I thought I did have them running. I got these 6 hacking scripts going, each with 2,000 threads, and that's most of the power on this computer. So this again, this computer has like gigabytes is the base unit for power here, so it's got like 32,000 gigabytes, massively powerful. That's because I powered that up before prestiging, and you keep that power after prestiging. So after you prestige twice, your early game progress is going to be way easier. You're not going to have to do all that stuff about taking over these, because now as these hacking scripts are working, see, now my hacking level's up to 300 and I keep getting these messages. So what that means is that now they've run several rounds of weaken and grow, and every time they run weaken and grow, then I get more level ups for hack. It's increasing massively quickly because of those augments. And so now these programs are available. I can set my guy programming these, and it's just an idle thing. If you leave it for 10 minutes, then you'll finish programming those, or you can just buy them. So right now, if I try to list the things in the stores, buy -L, I can't, because you need a Tor router first. So City, at the computer store, you can buy Tor routers once you have 200K, and then you can list the things in the store, and then you can just buy these things instead of leaving your guy idle to program them. So these are for opening the ports, for those servers that require you to open some ports before you take them over, these are the EXEs you're going to need in order to do that. So deep scan, this is going to get you deeper into the network. Right now I can only scan to level 3. If I get this one, I can scan to level 5. Server profiler can give you more information about servers. This one let you connect to servers just by clicking on them instead of typing in their names. Okay, so I still didn't get any faction invitations. That'll happen soon. Okay, let's see. So some of the other idle things you can do with your character is you can get a job here. Depends on your skills. So I have a high level of hacking skill. This one requires only that. So I can work at this one. So like if your money starts out this low, oh, it just popped up from 1,000 to 50 million. Okay, so I got an invitation. Okay, so back when that money a few seconds ago was at 1,000. So imagine your first time around, this kind of job is gonna return an amount of money that's that matters. But now that my scripts are starting to return hundreds of millions of dollars, this is gonna be totally redundant. So yeah, now like I can afford these computer courses that cost money but increase the stats quicker. I can go to the gym and increase my combat stats. I can go travel and then get a different city, but all the servers are still the same. And so now I got faction invites and I joined some factions. So one of the other idle things you can set your guy doing is faction work. So this is just, hey, a guy's idly working for this faction. It gives you reputation points for the faction. And so this one will give you hacking. This one's based on all your stats. This one's based on just your combat stats. So that's one of the things you can leave your guy doing. This one, you can. This button says do something else simultaneously. So for example, right now my guy's using his one idling activity to work for this. But then if I go to like job and work for this, then my guy is no longer working for that faction. So that's how you have a limit of one of those idle activities for your character to do. That includes the gym and the university too. Let's see. Oh man, I just recorded 11 minutes and the recorder program was video recording the audio recording program instead of the game, so I don't know what things I've said and what things I haven't said. Give me a minute. Alright, about this attack. For these early targets, attacking them with 2,000 threads all at once concentrated is too much, sort of. So this part is sort of hard to explain, but there's a consequence of this whole weaken and grow and hack thing, such that if you attack a target in a more distributed way with a bunch of different computers attacking it with different that are all out of sync with each other, then it's going to work better. But if you just have like one really powerful computer that's calling weaken, grow, and hack with a huge number of threads behind it, it doesn't work quite as well. Because analogy is it's a lot like a lake or some sort of natural resource like that. So imagine you got a lake with some fish in it and you are extracting some fish from it, but you are also breeding fish into it. But say you can only do those things in chunks. So at first you got some amount of power and it's fine. You are breeding some fish and extracting some fish from that lake and it's working fine. You get more and more power and then you do more and more extracting fish and breeding fish into that lake. And then at some point, once that industry has grown to a certain size, and since you have to take and replenish in chunks, eventually that chunk size gets to a critical size that will crash that ecosystem, and then it will cause your yields to slow down. So it's a diminishing returns thing. Up to a certain point, more computing power attacking a thing makes more yield, and then at a certain point, more computing power will cause that yield to decrease to maybe a quarter of what it was before or something. And that's because every time you grow, it grows their bank account by a certain percentage, and every time you hack, it takes a percentage out. So like if all of these, so once this it grows their bank account to nearly full, then as soon as it hacks, it takes out something like 99% of the balance, and then there's some kind of safeguard in there, some kind of a minimal balance that it won't go any less than. So every time it eventually calls hack, what it's doing is draining like 99% of the bank, and then because of that, it takes many rounds of grow in order to grow it back up. So what would happen if I had like say 20 different computers and each one was attacking it with 100 threads worth each, and they were all out of sync with each other? What would happen is that the individual actions of grow and hack and weaken would be more small and distributed, such that it wouldn't crash that ecosystem. So the bank balance would fluctuate between, say, like 75% full and 50% full. So like once it's got 75% full, then a bunch of them would call hack, but then it would only pull down to 50% before they would notice that the balance is getting lower again. Then they start growing again. So it wouldn't crash the ecosystem that way. That's what happens when you distribute your attack instead of having a concentrate attack. Now, one thing that I tried to do before the previous section is I've got this. So you've seen the hacking scripts. Those are the ones that you leave running to do grow, weaken, and hack. This is a script that launches those hacking scripts. So it's a script that launches the other scripts. This one, pretty simple. It names these six hacking scripts, and then it's just gonna run each one on this computer with 2,000 threads worth each, and that's what we see from this top here. So this has those six going with 2,000 threads each. This is what happens as a result of going run or 2.script. So one thing that I tried to do is I put another for loop around this for loop. So I had a for loop within a for loop, and what I tried to do was make a program that calls each of these with, say, 100 threads each, and then waits 5 seconds, and then calls them all again with another 100 threads each, and then waits 5 seconds, and then repeats that process a few more times, say 20 times. Problem is, your computer will not run multiple instances of the same script. So if you call all of these with 100 threads worth each, and then you try to call them all again with 100 threads worth each, you just end up with 100. So that's why you really got to distribute your attack if you want to distribute it, because you can't. Well, I could make like I could just make copies of all these where they go like 0A to 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 0B, 1B, 2B, 3B, 4B, and then launch all of those asynchronously on one computer. But that's kind of hacky. There's good ways to automate this and bad ways to automate this. So if you're not going to like very, very hacky measures like that, that is one reason why you want to have more computers, either the taken over computers or the cloud computers. You want to have more computers to distribute your attack from multiple sources like that. All right, let's have a look at purchasing those cloud servers. So before, when I was doing scan analyze, that was to show the network. But if you do scan without the word analyze, it shows all the servers you're connected to at this level without stepping across other servers for connections to other ones. This is also going to show you how many cloud servers you have, and this is showing us that we have none. So let's look at this script right here. Very, very elegant code following exquisite, perfect coding style right here. Again, lots of opportunities to code much better than I'm doing here, like an idiot. But this script should buy us 25 of those cloud computers, which is the maximum. And okay, look at our money right now. It's at 3.3 billion. And now if we run that script, money go bye. Okay. Yeah, I think I calculated that right. So that took about 5/6 of our money. And now I think we should have 25 of them here. Yeah, we have Floop 0 through Floop 24. So now we got a bunch of cloud servers. And when I had that game running before and we had like $1 trillion or something, those were, I think, 8 terabytes each. So I bumped that down. So now the amount of cloud power we have now is already a quarter of what we had before, when I showed you when we were pretty much at some kind of equilibrium before prestiging. Okay, so let me just get something ready and show you what an attack looks like from those. Alright, let's have a look at some more advanced attack stuff about opening ports and launching an attack from the cloud computers. So this script right here, this lists the 25 cloud computers we have, and this lists the 27 attack scripts, each one for a different target. And this here we have a for loop within a for loop, so I'm going to run this script once, and the point of this thing is that it launches the hacking scripts. So these are the hacking scripts that are going to call the grow, weaken, and hack. And this script here we're looking at is the one that's going to launch these scripts. So with for loop within a for loop, it's going to go to each of these servers. For each server, it's going to make sure all the processes are getting killed, and then it's going to look through this list of scripts, and it's going to launch every single one of these scripts on that server with 25 threads worth each. It's going to wait for 6 seconds, and then it's going to move to the in-between servers. So it's going to basically launch a full attack from Floop 0. It's going to wait 6 seconds, and it's going to launch a full attack from Floop 1, wait 6 seconds, etc. It's going to take a few minutes to get all those attacks going. So let's have a look here. We got money now. Let's go tech store. Let's get that Tor router. Okay, so now we can say buy. Let's just buy. Alright, so now there's programs here we can make. So these are the ones for opening ports. Let's just buy them instead. Yeah, we have way more than enough money for all these. Okay, and let's also buy the deep scans, and that'll give us access to all of the computers in this world. Okay, so now we have all the programs for opening up ports. We have access to all the computers in this world. So now maybe all attacks all will actually open up all these ports. So still most of these are not rooted, because last time I ran all attacks all, I didn't have any of the port opening EXEs. So now that I do, so all these that require more than 0, like 2 or 3 or 5 ports to open, these are all still no. So now I got enough hack level, I've got the EXEs for opening the ports. When I call all attacks all, it's going to use those on these, and it's going to call nuke, and it's going to give it the root access. So once it's got the root access, then it can be controlled, and it can be hacked with their bank account. So let's see. Run all attacks all. Stop. Takes a while to run. Might be stuck. There it is. Opening all those ports and nuking, getting root access. There it is, script finished running. Let's see. Scan, analyze. There we go. All these have been rooted now. So all these bank accounts are fair game, and they can all be controlled with their RAM. All the RAM just goes up to like 64 gigabytes, so that's pretty redundant for now. Okay. Let me just flip over the recording for the next part of this attack. Okay, almost ready for this attack. So first we have to copy these scripts over to the cloud computers, because if we want those cloud computers to be running the hacking scripts, they have to have them first. So let's look inside what this script here, what it does, lists all the cloud computers, it lists all the scripts, and it just calls skip to send them over each script. So this is just one for loop, because every time this is called, it sends the whole list over. So this is iterates through the loop once per server. There we go. So instead of nano that, again, nano is what opens it up in the editor. Run this instead. Top. Okay, it takes a while to run. Hopefully, yeah, that shouldn't be crashing. Let's see, can we catch it? No, it's done now. Okay, so now all of those Floop I didn't show before, but a minute ago these cloud servers here would not have had these. Okay, nano So this, I showed you before the script for launching the attack from this computer. So this generalizes it. Now we do have a for loop within a for loop, because it's gonna run this line like for each thing in this list and for each thing in this list. So what that's going to do, it's going to launch each of the hacking scripts on each of the cloud computers. First, so once it connects to one, it's going to kill all the processes just to make sure there's nothing running on it. Then it's going to try and run all 25 threads worth of all of these each. I think one of the targets is still beyond the hack level, so that's going to throw an error and it's going to kill those threads, but the rest are going to survive. And then that's going to take maybe 1 second, but then it's going to wait for 6 seconds. And then it's going to consider the next server, kill all the processes on it, and start those scripts running on that. So that's why it's going to take a couple of minutes to get all of them going, and that's how it staggers the attack instead of just calling all of these right away. This computer has a very friction-y control button. Okay. Run runner.script. So let's see. Top. Okay, it's taking a while to run. Hopefully it's not crashed. Is this one that crashes? Okay, so that's this bar filling up. This, nice, represents the amount of RAM available on this computer. And these bars represent how much of that RAM is being used on the idle scripts. So let's go connect to loop 0 and check free. Yeah, so I put a little safety margin in there. I could have run maybe, 30, 20, 27, 28, 29 of these each, and brought those closer to the limit of the computing power for these. But that's close to what you can do until you program this up better to make it a better attack. Nice. Okay. Yeah, so each of these, running all these... I don't know why I didn't throw an error, because I thought there were still some targets. Let me see. This ZB Institute is still beyond my hack level, so it should have thrown an error, I thought, when they try to hack these. And they are running. One of these is directed at ZB, so I don't know. Oh yeah, right. So it's right now the ones that are going on to addressing ZB, they're running grow and weaken right now. But as soon as if they get to running hack before my hack levels exceeds that, then they will throw an error. For example, this one's working on Netlink. So this is one of the highest leveled ones. The security level is 76, so just one round of weaken is going to take 24 minutes. So this is one, we got all 25 computers attacking this, but this could take a few hours just to bring down the security. And then this has a massive max bank account balance, so it would take a while to grow that up. Once that's grown up, this is the kind of bank account that you could attack with quite a bit of computing power without crashing that whole ecosystem thing. Whereas Script 0, Joe's Guns, so max money at Joe's Guns is 60 million compared to 6 billion on that one. So there's a factor of 100 difference there. So this one, when it does grow, takes 10 seconds. Weaken takes 17 seconds. Grow takes 10 seconds. Hack takes even less time than that. If this one, since there's a whole bunch of computers all doing these attacks all at once, then some of these might not happen to call hack if the other computer's hacked in between. So anyways, oh yeah, so this one is actually being crashed. Look, this money available, 200K. So that it got close to the max money bank account balance. Like, so here it's at 1 million. The max bank account was what, 6 million or 60 million? So it got up to like 15 million, and then at some point, yeah, it got up to 40 million, and then at some point a bunch of them hacked. A bunch of them did hack, but this one was busy growing at that point. And then the bank account balance got down to 2 million. So that hack was fine, but then somehow it got overdone the next time around. and that brought it down to just 200k. So this has basically brought it down to that safety limit. And then after it got to 200k, now it takes a long time to grow it back up. So that's what happens when you direct too much computing power at attacking one of these. It took several rounds of grow before it did get back up to 20 million. So anyways, that's what happens when one of those quote-unquote ecosystems gets overpowered. Whereas if you put the same amount of computing power at attacking one at this level, it would not crash that ecosystem. So that's why, like, you've seen some of the amount of scripting that I've done now, and there's more scripting left to do. One of the other like next scripting things left to do is get some kind of attack going on these that directs less power at these targets and more power at these targets. Fun game. Yeah, that's almost all the stuff left. So let me just flip over this recording, and there's probably just one little segment left then after that. Alright, welcome to the second to last segment in this series. Not many topics left, and as for things that I haven't showed you yet, yeah, there's that entire like other language for .ns that I haven't even learned it yet, but this oh my god, look at that cat. I mean, I don't even know if you can like run YouTube videos in this thing or anything, so I don't know the limit with this NS language, but oh my god, look at the cat. Oh my god. So augments, anyways. You want to buy these, you want to get a rough idea of which augments you want to have before your next prestige, which ones you want to buy as a set. And for example, let's say, just because I'm in these two factions, let's say that before the next time I prestige, I want to get all these augments from this faction and all these augments from this faction, and that's how I've scoped how many augments I want to get before the next time I'm prestiging. Okay, so first of all, you need faction reputation for both of those, and the one way to do that is with Infiltration, those mini-games. But right now my combat stats are back to minimum, so some of these faction works will train those combat stats back up before I could even do Infiltration. But I think even if you get them up, get up your combat stats, I don't know, yeah, I don't know. So I only got the combat stats up high enough such that attacking the weakest building was at hard difficulty level, but I guess if you get your combat stats up way high and then attack a higher leveled target, then maybe that gives you the prize, a bigger prize, and the prize for that is reputation points. So like you can leave your guy idling to work for reputation points, cash these in, so now I have a few of those. That's the one way of gaining those, and then the other way is infiltration games. So once I gain enough reputation points at those two factions to even be able to buy things, then what I would do is generally buy them from most expensive to cheapest among those ones that I'm looking at. So right now, price multiplier, remember that was at 375,000. Right now it's back down to 1 because we prestiged. So at this store, for example, this one costs 2 billion, and all these next most expensive is 50 million. So that's 400th as much as this one. So this one's the most expensive by far at this store. Avon, let's see, Sector 12. These range from, okay, a few millions to 100 million. However, this one is still locked. So you need to get this augment before this one even unlocks, before you can see the price for this. So do not get tricked. If you were buying these in order from most expensive to cheapest, you would get this one, and then you would get this one, and then you would get this one, and then this one would unlock, and then you would find, oh wait, this one was actually more expensive than these ones all along. So if I was buying these from order of most expensive to cheapest, I'd get this one first to unlock this one, then see how much that one costs, and then buy those from most expensive to cheapest. And last time I prestiged, I indeed made that exact mistake, and that's why the one that got unlocked ended up being worth like $1 trillion or something, and I couldn't afford it. So don't make that mistake. Buy them from most expensive to cheapest, including the unlocking them first. And you'd be comparing prices across the two factions to buy them in order of most expensive to cheapest. Yeah, okay. One last topic after... Yeah, just one last topic left before a little outro. So that's pretty much been the tour of this game, aside from these hacknet nodes. So early game, you're gonna need to buy a few of these, and if you are familiar with idle games, this is your very familiar idle game interface where you get these things. They're like farming points for you idly, and then this shows you how much money they're getting, and then if you buy more of these upgrades, then they get them quicker, and then there's 3 different kinds of upgrades, and you gotta mouse over, tells you how much more they get when you get more of them, and you balance those things, and then they balance out with the cost of buying more of those. And that's your standard idle games thing. If you've played idle games, you'll be familiar with that. If you've played idle games too much, you'll be painfully familiar with this interface right here. And yeah, that is, I guess that's a comprehensive beginner intermediate guide then. Um, yeah, so just quick outro. The people who made this game, they accept donations. I accept donations too. If you're donating money to me, I am Junichiro Mega Systems, and my policy is more money for more work, most money for best work. So look me up on those money-giving things and give money to me, okay? All right, that's the guide. Enjoy the game too, but also give me money.
Go, go, Junichiro. Hi.
Go easy on your EBs.